Om Sadashiva Samarambham Vyasa Shankara Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. All glories to the Divine Master. Like Bhagavad Gita is for Arjun, OS.me is for me. To me, that's the song of my God, my Ish, my Master. No matter which topic, that's my only search engine. That's the only place where I look. Looking back at our own lives, because that's what Swami says. To be able to look at what am I thinking? What am I thinking? What are my thoughts like? He says that's what an advanced contemplation is. He says, have you ever sat down and examined the nature of your thoughts? Not merely as a witness, but as an analytical observer, so that you're just not watching your thoughts like a mute spectator, but dissecting and categorizing them, each one of them as it emerges in your mind. It's not easy, for it requires razor-sharp mindfulness and alertness. It is an advanced type of contemplative meditation. Only and only when we start becoming aware, what am I thinking? How am I feeling? What am I thinking? How am I feeling? How am I feeling will give you what were you thinking. And forget about the rest of the life. If you just were to look, if I were to ask you, hey, how was your day today? You would very quickly go through it as if it just happened in a few seconds. And you might come up with one thing saying, oh, it was all good except, this one thing. So all that goodness that happened, it was like Kshanbhangur. It was just like gone in a second. But here, you come up with something heavy saying, this is the one thing that bothered me. This one thing. What makes the other events so light? So like, oh, they just flew by. Whereas this one thing became so heavy that I'm carrying it with me towards the end of the day. That's the essence of today's topic. Today we will be talking about Rag and Dvesh. Rag and Dvesh, the antidote of Rag and Dvesh is equanimity. Be maintaining a sense of equanimous attitude towards the happenings of the day. Forget about life. I'm just saying day to day, as we go through the day, the perspective with which we accept or we experience life That perspective is twofold. That perspective is either rag or dvesh. Rag and dvesh emerge are nothing but perspectives towards life. Rag meaning likes. In the most simple terms, rag means all your likes. Dvesh is all your dislikes. To what degree you experience the likes and to what degree you experience the dislikes is dependent on you. You could experience the likes to the point that it becomes a passion, an obsession. You could experience the dvesh to the point of bitterness, resentment, hatred. But essentially, if you look at the very fundamental nature, it is just a simple like and dislike, which is the attitude or the perspective with which we experience life. Based upon our own conditioning, based upon our own unique conditioning, the mind already has two compartments, one of likes and one of dislikes. Based upon those two compartments, you're able to say, oh, I had a good day today, except this one thing. So you see, the duality exists because we accept one and we reject the other one. It's like a road which has two-way traffic, one going this way, one going that way. For a driver, the driver needs to accept both ways because some days he's going to go this way, some days he's going to go that way. Imagine a driver saying, I will only accept this way. Then the way coming back is not there. Similarly, we have no problem, none whatsoever, in accepting good, good as in quote unquote. We have named it good. We have no problems accepting happy moments of life. Our acceptance of the happy moments is so deep, so immersive, that time disappears. It's like watching a movie that you love. 3 hours flies by in a second. You don't even realize you surpass time. You truly go beyond time. You truly experience life without the confines of time. Because, merely because of our acceptance of those moments is so complete, so immersive. So when you look back at your day, you will say, oh, everything was great except this. That exception came into picture because of dvesh, which is dislike. At the root, it's just a dislike towards what's happening. If you let that dislike stay longer and longer and longer and longer and longer, you could end up in extreme hatred. It all starts off with a small dislike, like a simple thought of, I don't like this. That's all there is. Remember, the whole process of self purification is to be able to observe what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and undress it. Constantly undressing these thoughts to see at the core, what is it? And that's what Swami says in a post called The ABC of Life. Let me mm, I'm getting to it. This is where he says, you cannot change your feelings by just wanting to change them. If you are feeling anxious, worried about something in the future, You can't just change your feelings by just wanting to change them, no matter how desperate you are or how strong willed you may be. So he's outrightly saying, if you are feeling a certain way, you can't just change the way you're feeling by just wanting to change them. And he's saying, no matter how desperately you want to change the way you feel, or no matter how strong willed you are, it doesn't matter. He's saying, you need to find out what is evoking these emotions in you. Go to the source. It could be an incident or a set of incidents, certain people, and so on. So, first, he's saying, be aware what you're feeling. Once you're aware of what you're feeling, don't discard it. Life has, you see, as Swami says, the dharma of nature is evolution. Nature's only dharma is to keep evolving. We are made, we are made, we come out of complete. And to complete, we have to get into. The whole process is attaining that completion, attaining that wholeness. And that's what Purushottam Yoga is, to become the perfect instrument in the hands of the divine. Purushottam, that's the ultimate. All life is moving towards evolution. So life, remember, Jagat Guru is nothing but life as Guru. Will keep on opening moments in front of you that need to be worked upon for you to attain that completion. If life has opened up something that has made you feel a certain way, don't just discard that feeling. Don't just escape it. Swami says, you need to find out what is evoking these emotions in you. Go to the source. Find out where the seed is. From where is this tree rising? It could be an incident, a set of incidents, certain people. He says, first, know that the feeling that you're experiencing cannot be negated. Second, dissect, go deep and dig. Where am I feeling this? Where is this feeling coming from? Where is this feeling? Where is the source? Then, after you have arrived at the source, he says, then ask yourself if you wish to feel differently. You see, he's not saying that was a bad thing, now you do something good. The word different has such a great power because he's saying, then you ask yourself, do I wish to feel differently? Which means you have an option. Religious ideas will say, this is a bad feeling, no, feel good. No, we don't want to get there. We don't want to get into a framework again. We want to have a certain freedom that we can exercise. Then ask yourself if you wish to feel differently. If so, start with the assumption that nothing or no one else is going to change. They are who they are where they are where where they always have been. They are exactly where they are supposed to be. You see, he's saying start with acceptance. Everything is as is. Everything is the way it should be. That instantly, that acceptance instantly gives you a broader view. Then he says, distract yourself positively, look at the brighter side, practice loving kindness towards yourself and others, and gradually your perspective will change. Because remember, self realization is all about total transformation of perspective. Before self realization, chop wood, fetch water. After self realization, chop wood, fetch water. What changed? The only thing that will change is your perspective forever and ever. So, the antidote to likes and dislikes, which I hope we all understand by now, is nothing but a perspective. The happy moments, the so called happy moments, I accept them wholeheartedly. I immerse in those happy moments, hence they fly by. The so called sad moments, I reject. I use my energy to push that away. The energy that I apply, thinking I'm pushing it away, is giving that thought energy to stay, become heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. All this distinction that now I'm using my energy to push that thought away, all this is the language of your mind. In reality, there is a thought that has emerged, which is nothing but energy. You're taking your own energy and attaching to it. In simple terms, that's all it is. You're adding energy to it. You're giving it energy. It's rising. It's becoming heavier and heavier and more powerful and more powerful. So likes and dislikes, rag and dvesh, at the very core are nothing but your likes and your dislikes. And forget about life. Do it day to day. Day to day. How was my day? It was good, except, oh, that's where you need to work on. Why? Why that exception? Why did my mind not immerse in that moment? What was the problem? Oh, I was a little worried. Worried about what? You have to dissect and understand. Why am I feeling this? Where is the source? Where is the seed? Oh, I'm worried about the future. Okay. Worried about the future. What can you do? Well, you can prepare, and whatever is out of your control, you can just have faith and be quiet. Are you doing that? No. What's stopping you? You see the master within, which is the self. Let the self talk to the mind, just like Lord Krishna talked to Arjun. Arjun was like, I can't do this. I'm sweaty. Oh my God, my hands are trembling. My feet are trembling. That's the mind. You see, that's such a typical scenario in our lives too. Something opens up in our life, and instantly we become Arjun. Then we have all the knowledge. We say all the knowledge of the future also. Oh, but what will this happen? Then what will that happen? Oh, what if this happens? What if that? What if this? What? Arjun Vishad Yoga begins. Then Lord Krishna says, listen to me. Then that's when we have to get into a conversation with our own mind. Because the mind is Arjun and the self is Lord Krishna. Then Lord Krishna, let the self talk to the mind. What are you worried about? Tell me what's going on. I'm worried about the future. Okay, what are you worried? What exactly is the worry? Most of the times, the fear is of unknown because the mind likes to be in its comfort zone of everything is known, known surroundings, known people, happening as per the blueprint. Anything beyond that, the mind gets worried. That's when Sri Krishna, yourself, has to come into picture. Because you see, till the time everything is happening according to a certain amount of known territory, that's called the comfort zone. Mind immerses itself in it. The same house, the same kitchen, same people, same attitudes, everything is same. Okay, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, everything is good. Let's say everything is good until 4 p.m. and then your spouse says something. Oh, wait a second. This is a change. Why did he say that? What does he mean? What exactly is his ulterior motive? He's always like this. Then begins the Arjun Vishad Yoga. That's when Swami says, dissect, understand, is this truly misery? Or am I adding masala to the situation and creating misery out of it? Undress that thought. Be centered so it doesn't pile on more. Whatever the worry is, look deep, zoom in. Hey, what's going on here? Why there is a little dislike? There is a worry. There is a stress. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. Going through Mind and Divine, Depression and Devotion, Tripura Rahasya, all these series, we don't have to go further. What happens when you don't give up the dislike? What happens where does the dislike eventually go? It will take you to hatred. I absolutely hate it when he does that or when she does that. It starts off as a dislike of how the life has unfolded. So instead of going all the way to the superlative degree of dvesh, catch it when it's still manageable, which is nothing but a pure dislike. Oh, I don't like this. Which is why go through day by day. The self reflections are for that. To go in, to go periodically at 10 a.m., at 3 p.m., at 7 p.m. How was it so far? Was I able to immerse myself in life? Because it's not like life is a struggle, that all day long you'll have struggles. If you're having that kind of life, there's a lot to learn. Once you have learned that lesson, what's the reason the life will present that same lesson over and over again? It won't. It's done. You have evolved in that aspect. There is no reason for the mind to present that over and over again. Which is why one of the aspects of self reflection is willfully, joyfully engaging in action that's needed at this particular moment. Whatever is needed, are you able to engage in it willfully, joyfully, without your likes and dislikes? Because throughout the day, if let's say we do 100 things, 50 to 60 we like, and then there is this, you know, 50 to 40 that we don't like, but we still do it. The attitude with which you do that, that's all life is trying to teach you. That give up these likes and dislikes, because likes and dislikes belong to the doer. You are not the damn doer. You're just an instrument. This work needs to be done, and your perspective and your dislikes are creating an obstacle in my expression. This is what the Lord says. This is what the self says from within. This is my expression. Where are your likes and dislikes coming in between? Until you learn to get out of the way so that expression of divine happens unobstructed, you'll have to learn this lesson. The goal is to go through life smoothly, effortlessly. Whenever a block is created, there's a lesson to be learned. Wait a second. What am I missing? Where is this fear? Where is this worry? Where is this stress coming from? Address it. And see, do I continue to want to feel this way about, such situations in life? Or do I want to do something different? Yesterday, I had an incident wherein there was a little stress about, offices reopening. And then I zoomed in to see all the stress was coming from the question, what if? The mind was posing 100 scenarios, starting with what if? What if this happens? What if that? What if she? What if that? What if he? What if, what if, what if? I just said to the mind, okay, if that happens, I will handle it in the best possible way at that time. I truly don't know what or how that moment will unfold. But I can promise you, if that happens, I will handle it to the best of my ability. That's it. So instead of going and handling obsessions and hatred, handle it at the most basic level. It's easy to undress that thought when it is most basic, when it has used so much clothing on it and it has become hatred or obsession. It's going to be hard to address it. So as you go through life, which is what is the minor purpose of life, that's what Swami said. There are two purposes of life, minor and major. When the minor purpose is fulfilled, the major purpose unfolds. And the minor purpose is mundane living when becomes effortless. Mundane existence when it becomes effortless, then You're ready to use your energies for a higher purpose. That's when the higher purpose unfolds effortlessly. But if all your, he says it in one of the discourses, if all your energy is used in day to day living, where the hell are you going to have energy to pursue anything higher? Your mundane existence, your day to day life is such a struggle. Where are you going to gather up energy to pursue something higher? So, the minor purpose of life is making your day to day mundane existence effortless. It flows like a river. And learning, which is why Jagat Guru is this mundane life. It teaches you such high values if you're able to lead an equanimous, mostly equanimous day to day. Whether I like this or whether I don't like this moment demands this action. I'm going to do it. That's divinity expressing unobstructed. Your own mind causes obstruction. The divinity wants to express at this moment in a certain way. Your conditioned view says, oh, I like this, oh, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this. Then the self is left with no other choice but to present scenarios so you can learn to get out of the way. Get out of the way so I can express. That's all there is. Lord Krishna wanted to establish dharma. Who was in the way? The conditioned mind of Arjun. What about this? Read Arjun Vishad Yoga. What an amazing conditioned mind. He's like, what about this? What about that? What about this? So first, he had to get him out of the way. He says, forget all this. I'm telling you to fight, you fight. But no, but this, but that. Okay, let me give you some gyan. Okay, but what about gyan? Now you're telling me gyan is better. I might as well go get gyan. Oh my God, you're still not acting. Okay. So that's why the entire Gita was given, saying this moment demands you to go to war, Arjun. I'm telling you, this is no one's dying, no one's being born, only the dharma is being established. This is my divinity expressing through you as an instrument. Don't have a dance of your own. Just dance to my tunes. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchiha. Forget all the things you know, Arjun. Just follow my instruction. That is the root. That is dharma. Dharma is to have no likes, no dislikes. Continuously doing what is needed at that particular moment. If you are centered, you will know what needs to be done. In another post, life beyond worries. No, not life beyond worries, ABC of life. He quotes an example, a story of Buddha. He says, once the Buddha was confronted by a monster called Suchiloma, whose name translates as needle hair. He was a prototype punk with needles for hair. He wanted to find out if Buddha was really enlightened, so he sat down next to the Buddha and leaned towards him to prick him. But the Buddha leaned away. Aha, said Needlehair, you don't like pain. You're not really enlightened. An enlightened person would maintain equanimity no matter what. He wouldn't have any likes or dislikes. To this, the Buddha said, because you see, this is intellectual knowledge. No likes, no dislikes, just bear with whatever is being presented to you. No, that's foolishness. The Buddha said, don't be stupid. There are things that are going to cause problems for my body. It's going to hurt and make it unhealthy. This is just common sense. You don't step on snakes. You don't run into fires. You don't allow needles to poke you. You move away. It's common sense, not attachment. That's loving kindness towards your body, keeping it healthy, keeping it safe. You see, when that monster, needle haired monster, started inching his way towards Buddha, what was needed at that moment was for Buddha to lean away. That's what he did. Now imagine his mind. Oh no, you should not. You're an enlightened person. You should just stay. No matter what life is presenting you, you should take it. All that is useless. If you are centered, you will know exactly what needs to be done at that moment. At that moment. At the Toronto retreat, Swami said, the inner voice speaks only when it's needed. If I access my inner voice right now and say, okay, now tell me what's going to happen in 2 years, the inner voice has no business revealing anything like that. Because what I'm asking doesn't even hold any water. At that moment, the inner voice will guide. At that moment, I will take the appropriate action that's needed. And that's dharma. To be able to perform action at any given point of time without your likes and dislikes interfering. That's equanimity. So, the antidote to rag and dvesh is equanimity. Because rag and dvesh are two dual perspectives of experiencing life. If you completely understand that you are an instrument, like a puppet, in the hands of the divine, and the divine is expressing through you your likes and your dislikes, nobody has time for that. The universe does not care. The universe could care less whether you like it, whether you dislike it. Whatever needs to happen through this instrument called Anu, through this instrument called any name, will happen. The more Anu is quiet, the more it will happen effortlessly. The more Anu interferes with her own likes and dislikes, the more Anu has to learn the actions will still happen. So as you go through life, know that life itself is the greatest guru that's teaching so many great things. Minute to moment, things are happening. Why are you not able to immerse in the moments, in every moment equally? Only because of this perspective of rag and dvesh, which is why Divine Mother holds raga swarupa pashadhya krodhakaram kushojvala. That which binds you is your rag. That which tortures you is your dvesh. Once she holds them, which means once you realize that the divine within is the doer, is just expressing its will. The divine is expressing the will. That there is no rag, then there is no dvesh. That's when you give your rag and your dvesh, your likes and your dislikes to the Divine Mother. And you just act. You just keep acting. Imagine if Swami says, I'm done meeting people. I really don't like meeting people anymore. Where are we to go? Without any likes or dislikes, whatever is needed at that given moment, he does. Fully involved, fully immersed. This is what we need to see. Are we moving towards becoming the perfect instruments in the hands of God within? Is the divinity expressing in its full glory through this medium, through this instrument, through this puppet? Or is the puppet dancing of its own accord? If the puppet is dancing of its own accord, it has lessons to learn. And the loving Guru, in the form of Jagat, in the form of life will teach these lessons. So continuously focusing on what am I thinking? What am I feeling? How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? Allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to immerse in that feeling that the moment has brought about. The goal is not to always feel happy. The goal is to just be, either in whatever the moment is. Remember, Swami always says the moment is so short lived, it's incomprehensible. What are you trying to make meaning out of it? Whatever the moment brings, just be. Just live that moment the way it is, without putting any dress of conditioning on it, the way it is. Just live it. Be open to learning. Always be open to life. Life is the greatest teacher. Jagat Guru. Life is the Swaroop of Jagat Guru. Every conflict is a lesson. Every so-called sad moment is a lesson. Every stress is a lesson. Every worry is a lesson. Learn the lesson and rise above it. Or life has to keep presenting it over and over and over again. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Narayani Namostute. Narayani Namostute. Narayani Namostute.